Hey everyone, it's Afty, and in this Zero to Hero Black Shark 2 tutorial, we're going to be going over the basic fundamentals of flight here. So I'm just on an instant action mission where it says take off from Beslan or whatever it is. So we got a nice hot helicopter. You don't have to fumble around with the cold start, we can just get right to it. So typically people want to take off this helicopter like a plane. You can do it, just increase the collective, hold forward and then go. Or you could just go straight up like a regular helicopter would. So let's just go straight up. It's a little bit more difficult. Okay. So we're going to zoom in here. We'll just go over little things on the HUD here. So on the right, you got our altitude. And on the left, which is blank, you have your speed. You have your pitch ladder, like you would in any aircraft. You've got your marker for how your helicopter's orientated. So if it's banked left, this will be dipped down, and vice versa. What else? Yeah. We're going to be watching this gauge a lot. So the climb and descent gauge. So when you're on level flight, you want it to be at 0. Okay. So to take off here, we're gonna be in. Make sure you got the autopilot on too. Sorry. The three main ones: the bank, pitch, and heading hold. So to take off here, we're going to bring the collective up slowly. It's gonna start pitching back, so we pitch forward a bit. And now we took off here. Now you can see our speed is 6. And you can see on the top we're gaining altitude in meters. Another thing you can see here in the center of our orientation marker, you see this line growing. So when you're under 5, or when you're under 50 kilometers per hour, this line will show up showing you which way you're going. So if you pitch forward, you can see the line growing. So we're pitched forward and it points to the direction we're going. And if we pitch back, you can see the line shrink back, and now we're at a neutral state. And if you pitch back even further, you can see the line growing, indicating that we're moving backwards. So this is very handy when you're trying to line up for a landing, or you want to move over just a little bit, because when you hold, let's say you hold right down, with the helicopter you can actually kind of strafe left and right. So you can bring it around and bring it back to neutral. And that way you know you're not moving. Okay. So for basic flight here, there's 2 ways we can do it. You can either use the trimmer button, or you can put it in flight director mode. Right now we're going to use the trimmer button. So we're going to hold the trimmer button down. We're going to pitch forward, increase the collective so we're not falling. As you can see, that line went away after 50. Let's lower the collective a bit. We want to get it at 0. What we can do now is let go of the trimmer button. And it's now going to, autopilot's going to try to keep us in that heading at our bank that we had and pitch. We can lower the collective down to go to 0 for level flight, and now we're just flying straight. Cool, right? Now if you wanted to increase your speed, you hold the trim button again, pitch down on the stick, increase the collective so you're not falling toward the ground. Get your speed up. Let's get it to be about 250. And we can let go of the trimmer. And we're flying straight at a faster speed. Watching the gauge, make sure we're not climbing or descending. Just going straight. Now you're probably asking, what happens if you didn't use the trimmer button and you just wanted to maneuver? So when I first started learning the Black Shark here, I never knew about the trimmer button. I never read any guides. I just watched a cold start tutorial and then try to fly it like a plane. I didn't know that you had to hold the trimmer button or put it in flight director mode to maneuver this helicopter around. So I was always fighting the autopilot. So what we're going to do now is I'll show you what's going to happen if we don't use the trimmer button. Let's say we want to bank right here. We want to make a right-hand turn. We're not going to use the trimmer button. We're going to bank right rudder, turn it around here. Everything looks like it's working perfect, right? But in reality, the autopilot's wanting to stick you back that way. So you're never going to be able to stop it from going that way. So I'll let go of the stick and it's gonna try to correct me back to the heading I was at. So that's where a lot of people get frustrated with the Black Shark, is that the autopilot will always be a pain in your ass if you don't remember to use the trimmer button or flight director. See, as you can see, it brought me back to my original heading, and it's now banking me back straight, so I'm heading in that direction. I wasn't touching the stick or the throttle this whole time. That's what makes it really annoying. But now if I wanted to make some cool city zooms, let's do that. We'll hold the trimmer button. We get full control of the Black Shark, so we can bank it right over. Still hold the trimmer button. Overspeed warning. Still holding the trimmer button, doing your move. Pretty cool, eh? Almost smoked that building. It's all good though. And do another bank left. Clipping some trees. You know. Let's bank right around. We're still holding the trimmer button. Oh, I just saw something in my shadow that I'm not proud of. Oh, thing I forgot to do. Let's just get this straight again. Let go of the trimmer button. I'm flying straight. Gain altitude so we go over this building. But the thing I'm embarrassed about is, so let you give you a second for you guys to figure it out, is look right here. The gear is still down. So let's bring it up. I saw my shadow when I was banking around and I saw that the wheels were still down. So that's a big boo-boo. Don't be like me. When you get up in the air, bring your gear up. Let's hold the trimmer button down and bank around. Rudder, bank over, turn it back straight. Let go of trimmer. Now we'll do flight director. So to recap what we just did, to do your maneuver, you hold the trimmer button, make your turn or whatever you're doing, and then when you set yourself back up and let go of the trimmer button. That way you'll always have full control and you won't be fighting the autopilot. So it's a little different here once we enable flight director. So flight director on, you can see that it just banked me up. So the autopilot doesn't have that much authority for what I'm doing. So the autopilot is going to try to help you fly, but it's not going to stop you from going in whatever direction you want. So you can just fly this how you would fly a regular helicopter. Oh, don't want to know what's going on in that building. So you can see, just fly normally. Bank, rudder, full control. Don't have to worry about the autopilot trying to correct you. So flight director is great for when you want to fly the aircraft and you don't want the machine flying you. You're always going to have your hand on the stick and the collective, but you can fly this around without fighting the autopilot. So one thing to note here, you see those two lines on the HUD? That's just showing where my last autopilot was set. You still have the diamond showing the heading of what your autopilot was set at. So if you wanted to change it so it's autopiloted this way, tap the trimmer button and it just reset. So now it's pointing in this direction. It's still going to try to help you get that way, but as you can see, we're slowly drifting. So either way works, you know, flight director or holding the trim button, personal preference. If it's a long flight out, I would probably use the trimmer button mode to fly. And then when you get to the combat zone, I would probably put it in, well, I would put it in flight director mode unless I was hovering back and sniping tanks with the Vickers missiles. So when you increase and decrease the collective, it's pretty much applying power to lift. So we're descending now. Okay. There's one thing that I gotta show you, but I gotta get some altitude for. So we're gonna take it out of flight director mode. We're gonna hold the trimmer button. And then we're gonna pull back on the stick a bit. We're gonna slow down. Careful not to pitch up too far. Watch our climb and descent gauge. We want to try to keep it level. Obviously I didn't because I was climbing, but when you're slowing down you want to try to keep it at the 0 mark. Little touches on the collective. When we get to 50, you'll see that line pop up. You'll see that which way you're orientated or your helicopter's drifting. You want to get it a bit centered. back a bit, have it slowly come in. You want it to be pretty much on the button. You can see it's still going a little forward. So anyways, we want to get a little bit more altitude. So I'm going to show you this spiral of doom. So if you're ever descending and you get into the spiral of doom, I'll show you how to get out of it. This should be enough altitude maybe. I'm gonna reset the camera. Okay. This is enough altitude. So let's just cut the collective. You can see we're starting to shake real bad. We're shake. This is not good, right? We increased the collective here. And we're not doing anything. We're still gonna be falling to the ground. There's really nothing we can do except for one thing. We're gonna hold the trimmer button down, point, bring the collective up, point forward, get some speed back, get some speed, and kind of like dive forward to get out of it. It's been many times when I was learning when that happened and I was just trying to crank the collective up, and I was wondering why it kept on falling to the ground. So let's bank it back around and let's land this thing somewhere. I guess we can go back to the airfield and land. Or not airfield, the airport, sorry. Holding the trimmer button, point to where we want to go. Looks like the airport is that way. So we'll get it orientated how we want it. Let go of the trimmer button. And there we go. It's now flying itself there. Watch the climb gauge. We can bring it down, start descending toward the airport. When you're going at speed, you don't have to worry about the shake of doom or the spiral of doom, whatever you want to call it, because you're going fast enough. So as we're coming into the airport, descending, we'll see if we can zoom in and see if there's anybody in our way. Now, like taking off, you can either land on the runway like you would a plane coming in, or you can hover in, whichever you prefer. We're gonna do the hover in. So I'm gonna show you how to use the auto hover mode when we get close enough. So if you watch the key bindings tutorial, you'll know what key you need to push for auto hover. It'll pretty much keep you in place. So we're gonna increase the collective a bit so we're not falling. So I can show you auto hover. So we're going pretty fast here. We'll want to slow down a bit. Hold the trimmer button, bank it up, watch the climbing gauge, try to keep it at 0 the best you can until you get the speed you're looking for. Let's get it to like 100. let go of the trimmer button. Okay, so let's get ourselves, so we're not climbing or falling here. We'll put it back to 0. Let's orientate ourselves so we're parallel to the runway. So now we'll pitch it back to slow down again. So when we get to 50, you're going to see the line pop up. So you're going to try to make that line go right to the middle of your marker, or your orientation marker on the HUD. And when it does get there, you want to push the auto hover button and let go. Now you have a new thing pop up on your HUD, a circle with a box in there to tell you that auto hover mode is on. Now your hands off hovering. So now let's descend a bit. Remember not to go past 5 on the descent gauge. Hardest thing about landing this helicopter is that you can't see below you, so it's kind of like a guess. Might be a little easier for people in virtual reality, but when you're playing on a pancake screen like me, you just gotta gear down. When you're landing, gear down. Always remember, gear your gear. Gear down when landing, gear up when flying. Don't be like me and forget. Okay. Let's just increase the collective again to zero. We'll try and see if there's anyone below us. They're not, but it doesn't look like we're lined up on the pavement. It looks like there's a plane there. So this is not the spot we want to be in. So let's increase the collective so we're not falling. Now we can turn auto hover off, and let's pitch ourselves forward a bit. Let's just move ourselves out of harm's way so we don't land on that plane. We just want to put ourselves over in this little box here. Don't want to go too fast. It does take some time for this chopper to slow down. So I think we're clear. We're gonna pull back again. Hold the trimmer button. Line this up as best you can. Auto hover mode on. Now we can go back to descending. Make sure we don't go below 5. To get the spiral of doom. Looks like we're good. And get closer to the ground, increase the collective so it's not that hard of a landing. And we got touchdown. Well, touchdown now. And then we can chop the collective, and now we're back on the ground. Alright, so that's my Zero to Hero basic flight tutorial. If you liked this tutorial, which it wasn't a perfect tutorial, it was kind of just done. There were some mistakes like leaving the landing gear, but hit that like and subscribe button, and we'll see you in the next one. This is Afty signing out. Good hunting.